I don't disagree with you, but I'm going to say this. I read your comment and I can tell right off the bat that you are somebody who has already worked on boundaries. If somebody asks you to do something and you don't feel like doing it, you're going to say no, probably not lose a whole lot of sleep, be totally upset on whether or not that person's mad at you, because you understand and can look down from the bigger picture of the consequences. What happens if you allow somebody to keep stepping on your boundaries? The problem is not everybody's already at that point. Existential consequences, along with the trauma, on unlearning society, culture, everything that we have been taught is we have to unlearn in order to build the boundaries for most people, because most people did not grow up learning how to create, build, and hold boundaries. When you think about that, especially for my generation, our parents were the parents who were like, because I said so, right? We didn't get to set our own boundaries. We were do as you were told. Children are to be seen and not heard, right? We didn't get to set boundaries for ourselves. We didn't get to say, I don't want to give Uncle Kenny a hug, right? So I'm going to give him a high five instead. We didn't get that. We were told to give a hug regardless. It didn't matter how it made us feel. So we learned how to eat that discomfort. So the very first thing that we have to do before we can even start talking about consequences is get to the point that we understand that we are allowed to make the rules for our life. Those rules are allowed to make us feel good. They're allowed to be the things that we really want them to be, because we've been told our whole life that we can't have that. Once we start believing that, we can then get into existential consequences, along with unpacking the trauma and a few other things, right? To move through building more boundaries quicker, stronger, more efficiently. But I don't think that somebody who's never ever had boundaries and is now understanding that they have to build boundaries in order to get over the burnout, in order to release the resentment, they first have to believe that they're allowed to do that. They have to figure out, because the very first step is, what are the boundaries? Well, the consequences don't help if you don't know what it is you need to release or what it is you want more of. So that's kind of the direction of what I was actually talking about in that video. But I 100% agree, because it doesn't all come down to feelings. And there are a lot of times feelings aren't really important. There are also a lot of times that it hurts to hold our boundaries. 100%, absolutely, where it crumbles us to hold our boundaries. But I don't think that's where we start when we're talking with people who've never ever had boundaries, built boundaries, who are literally just starting off on this adventure. Does that make sense? I don't know. Tell me your thoughts. This is a great conversation. And I love the depth of this topic, because there's so much to press into.